He's got a set of hands that allows him to play, like his head and his hands. He can make plays with those two fellows. And it's worked in terms of that line, but I think maybe the bigger benefit is Lusteron and Lundell and Reinhardt went together, and they were really strong for us. At the end of the two elimination games that didn't go to overtime, that line was on the ice at the end of the game. And for good reason. They've been really good.
With that line, there have been a couple times where Carter's jumped. I mean, he had the series-winning goal. He jumped on and played with
Correct.
those two guys. I think on Bennett's goal last night, he was on with those two guys. Is that just like a nice flexibility to have?
Yeah, some of it is just the line change.
Yeah.
On the one, it was just a line change, left winger for left winger. And then some of it is coming out of penalty kills. I don't use Bennett to Tkachuk to kill penalties, but we run just about all the other centermen and everybody else to kill. So he'll jump in there.
It's probably hard to pick with all the games this year, but is that one of the best games you've seen Matthew Tkachuk play last night? Just given the stage and the hits, the assists, kind of everything he was doing last night.
I think what's been great about this man is he's been incredibly consistent. There hasn't been a lot of variation in his game. You know, you never introduce a negative. He got sick in December, and he ran about 4 or 5 games where he didn't get points. He got worn down, and then popped back up, and he's been pretty much the same guy every night.
And on that, I think there were 3 times maybe he got on the one side of big hits last night, and he popped right back up, really didn't let those become momentum shifts.
That's in his wheelhouse. That doesn't make him worse. No, he enjoys that.
Going back to Anton.
When you walk down the hallway to the media room, and there's giant pictures of Pat Burns and Pat Quinn and Punch and Black in a row. What does that feel like, being you, knowing you were here, knowing where you're from, knowing what you're doing now?
I think the driver for me, I'm still a fan of this game, and I don't feel a whole lot different than I did when I was 12 years old in Sault Ste. Marie. Pat Quinn, I mean, I remember the first time I met him, right? Because it was a big deal. It was Pat Quinn.
Remember that?
Well, yeah, right? And Pat Burns. And I was so young, like 10 years before that, I'm a teenager watching NHL hockey, and then you walk into a coach's room and there's all those guys, right? So there's still a lot of fan in me. It's a big deal. I like walking up and down the hallways here and seeing the pictures on the walls. I enjoy that very much.
Going back to Anton Lundin, having him in that 3-hole, for a 21-year-old to be trusted so much by you defensively, whether it's on the PK or just being a shutdown player on that third line, what's the biggest growth in his game that you've seen from the beginning of the season to now?
Physicality. So these guys will appreciate this. I look at Anton Lundin like Alex Steen, right? 18 goals, I think his first year, played on Matt Sundin's wing. A skilled guy, but kind of a perimeter guy. And then the change in him over the course of his career, by the time he was done, in his prime, he was a hard man. Like he played hard and competed on it. And I think Anton is the exact same guy. He's a skilled guy, he's a very bright man. But the ground that he's covered this year, he's a much harder man in the way he plays the game.
The middle of last series, we talked about you guys maybe need to be better in front of the net. Felt like Boston was winning some of those battles. Seemed like last night you guys were really good there. Just not a lot of rebounds, a lot of bodies on bodies. Have you felt like you guys have gotten stronger in that area as the playoffs have gone on?
I think so. There's a significant style change in the games. I thought we were good last night. I thought there were moments that what we're really good at, we were really good at it, and then there were moments that we weren't. So I wouldn't say we played great. I would say we were good. Some of it was net front, but we also had, some of that net front was really good because of Sergei Bobrovsky, because we're not digging it out of our net. We're tapping everybody in the pads. Good job. We'll have to be better tomorrow.
Paul, I know you don't want to tip your hand, but midway through the game last night, Sheldon makes a switch in terms of who he wants out there on Bennett and Tkachuk. He puts Matthews and Martin out there. First of all, it reunites them, then he puts them out there against the most. Are you comfortable? Coaching philosophies have an evolution, in terms of chasing matchups or not. Are you comfortable if that's the way it's going to go, or do you want to see it first?
There are hard match teams. I think this has more to do with the player's psyche than anything else. If you are a hard match team, then the match becomes very important. We didn't have that opportunity, right? We played 4 road games. We start on the road, so we're not getting the match. By the time we got to game 5, in the last series. I think both coaches kind of agreed on the match. What they wanted, we wanted. We were kind of the underdog, and okay, we'll take that match. But I haven't been with this team a hard match coach. I haven't, and shift length is almost more important to us. Yeah, some face-off stuff where you put guys out, but we're not a hard match team.
So not losing your top players that way, making sure they're out there.
Yeah, I mean, right, like the last one, at Anaheim, Randy Carlisle. For me, that's the last hard match coach that we used to run into. Now, zone starts are probably a higher priority than most guys. They're not afraid to play any of their players against any of our players. We aren't either. Nobody's hiding anything.
We used to be best. People like to go best on best. Gilmore going head to head with Rowan in playoff series.
And there was almost more of a one checker, right? There was Esa Tikkanen. It didn't really matter who he played with. He just played against the other team's best and agitated all night long. I think it's just changed now. Maybe Carolina is a little different. Stahl will run hard against the other team's best, but it's kind of right. So there's a couple of players and lines left that are truly hard match, but I don't think that I think it changes as the series goes, right? You get into the game, we all have an idea of what our players are going to do and what their players are going to do. Sometimes that doesn't happen. So your best checking line isn't your best checking line that night, so you got to find somebody else to do it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks very much.
You passed Al Arbor.
I'm going to bring Tkachuk.
And I was thinking that, hey, if I'm Paul, what am I feeling? This is like Mount Rushmore of coaches on my list anyhow.
Almost sheepish. Right? I don't consider myself on that list until you get a Stanley Cup. I lead the league in losses. That stat, number of games, number of wins or something, I like the fact that I've coached two teams to 300 wins, and there's two other guys who've done that. I think that's valuable. It means you stuck around long enough in the city and you did some good work.
Thoughts on Al?
I'm sorry?
Thoughts on Al?
Well, that would be part of that kind of Mount Rushmore for me as a kid, right? I'd met him. He was done coaching by then, and you're kind of Mr. Arbor, right? I'm not calling that man Al. So that's kind of how I feel about it.